It's Tuesday, the 24th of February, 2026. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Before we do that, make sure you hit follow on the podcast right now, because if you are listening through the Your Daily Drive playlist on Spotify, that playlist is going to disappear very, very soon, and it may get hard to find us. So follow
disaster.
Fast 5. Yeah, indeed. Follow the Fast 5 so that you get us every single morning and every afternoon as well, Sean. Story number 1, Australia's beef industry, we are one of the biggest foreign suppliers to the US. The industry is likely to keep its exemptions from US President Donald Trump's tariff regime.
450,000 tonnes of beef to the US last year. Cracking year.
Yeah.
Basically, beef shipped to the US won't face the new 15% tariff announced over the weekend. The Meat and Livestock Australia group are confident. It said it had confirmed the exemption in a conversation with counterparts in the US. Now, in November, the US administration announced that beef imports to America would be exempt from tariffs as part of a plan by the government to tackle rising food costs in that country. Basically, US beef herd levels are very low. Countries like Australia and Canada are filling in the gap.
Yeah, it sounds like the US is working really hard, Sean, to not let trade deals already done and kind of finished and finalised unravel. This is all following the Trump administration's defeat at the Supreme Court late last week.
Yeah, very much. That decision ruled that the basis for Trump's Liberation Day tariffs was unlawful. All the deals done with partners like China, Europe, Japan, South Korea, they will remain in place, according to US Trade Representative Jamison Greer. His comments really highlight the confusion over the new tariffs and refunds of the old tariffs. Early analysis suggests the real winners from that decision are places like China and Brazil. The losers are long-term allies like the UK, EU and Japan.
And just super quickly, Australia's not happy about the tariffs, but it might have a silver lining, because Trade Minister Don Farrell says that Australia and Europe have made more progress in the last few weeks and in the last 25 years towards reaching a free trade deal.
Ironic. Speaking on Sky News, he said what's going on in the US has helped the two sides come closer together. We've tried very hard to do a deal with the EU. Maybe it's taking the US to get a deal across the line for Australia and the EU.
Yeah, maybe. All right, on to story number 2 now. The potential return of a cohort of Islamic State brides and their children to Australia has become a real political headache for the government, with the federal coalition challenging Prime Minister Anthony Albanese to stop their return. The opposition wants laws that criminalise the actions of non-government organisations or advocates who help people linked to terrorism return to the country. Opposition leader Angus Taylor says that the new laws are designed to target, quote, terrorists and terrorist sympathisers, although the Prime Minister has called the proposal not serious.
So there's 34 people trying to return to Australia. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke said the government is not assisting the women and children who are linked to Islamic State. They don't really want them in this country. However, they do carry Australian passports. Only one woman would be deemed or prohibited from entering the country because she's deemed by intelligence agencies as high risk.
Story number 3, making a Nazi salute as a joke is enough to justify sacking an employee with more than a decade of service, according to the Fair Work Commission. The commission has backed rail operator Pacific National's dismissal of a train driver who allegedly gave the fascist salute to oncoming train crews at a station in southern New South Wales. This was on the grounds that it constituted serious misconduct.
It came after a series of anti-Semitic attacks in New South Wales shortly after the Labor government outlawed the Nazi salute. The driver, who'd been at the company for more than 10 years, denied he made a Nazi gesture. He argued he'd been giving the all-clear hand signal, according to Fin Review. But after examining CCTV, Deputy President Bryce Cross found the evidence clear and compelling that the gesture was the Nazi sign and enough to establish a valid reason for dismissal.
Story number 4, this is an early contender for my favourite story of the week, Sean. The Gold Coast in Queensland is getting a Trump Tower, because where else would it go, right? And it might end up being the country's tallest building. Trump Organisation yesterday said it had signed a hotel management agreement with Queensland Development Altus Property Group to build a 91-storey hotel and residential tower on the Gold Coast.
On the Gold Coast, surfers paradise, in fact, the Trump International Hotel and Tower, Gold Coast, plan to include 285 luxury hotel rooms, 272 residential apartments. It'll bear the trademark Trump logo. The deal was struck last week at Mar-a-Lago, where Altus Property Group founder and Chief Executive David Young met with Eric Trump, Executive Vice President of Trump Organisation, and of course the President's son.
Of course. And last one. Story number 5, Sean. The Australian government has issued a warning for those travelling to Mexico following the death of drug lord Aylmer in a military raid.
Mexico's defense ministry said a shootout in one of the western states on Sunday left Aylmer, his name is Nemesio Oseguera, seriously injured. He died during an air transport to Mexico City. The ministry noted that US authorities had provided complementary information, whatever that is. The operation set off a wave of violence, burning cars, gunmen blocking highways in more than half a dozen states, particularly in the country's north and west, according to Reuters. As a result, Australia's Smart Traveller website says Australians need to exercise a high degree of caution in Mexico. Please do.
Yeah. All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Tuesday, the 24th of February, 2026. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, as I mentioned before. And if 5 minutes just isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.